Dr. Thomason, can you do roll call?
President Reese, members of the board, please let the record show we have 4 board members here tonight. Allie Ford apologizes that she wasn't able to make it tonight. She had a different situation going on that she wasn't able to be here.
Thank you. We are going to do our moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Four point zero, I move that we approve the agenda.
Support.
Any comments on the agenda? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 5.0, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Thomason?
Good evening, President Reese, members of the board. We have some recognitions and presentations tonight. So at this time, I would like to invite Michelle Reese up to recognize some very special students, parents, and employees. Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason, members of the board, cabinet members, and of course our wonderful audience. Tonight I'd first like to bring forth John Dolan from Sossaman Middle School, who has a very special student to introduce.
Thank you very much. So I guess I'll start with, hey, Penda, why don't you come on up here? Why don't you first tell us who's here with you, and then I'll tell them why you're here.
My mom, my dad, and my 3 little brothers.
Are you nervous here? Because you weren't nervous on TV the other day. Okay, so Penda is going to represent our school, our district, the state, and of course her family in Washington, D.C. as the Scripps State Spelling Bee champion. So I wrote down a couple of things here about Penda. Academically, she's on our single accelerated track. So as a freshman in high school, she'll take honors geometry, honors chemistry, honors English. Heck, she's going to take, when she finishes, she'll be at AP Calculus. And that's just the math part, not even the English part, where she's kind of excelling here. Outside of that, outside of academics, she's on NJHS, our student council. She's president of the art club. And I hear she enjoys some conversations, I got this from Ms. Koblenz, and even some arguments with your little brother sometimes. So this is just a wonderful young lady, and I know we're super proud of her. I know our parents are too, so congratulations and the best of luck. They're going to shake your hands.
Penda? 4 years, and this young lady, even her first year 4 years ago, we knew she was going to be a superstar. Incredible. Thanks, Penda.
Now I'd like to bring forward Mr. John Ewing and Dr. Howell from our high schools, Williamsfield and Higley. They have 3 special students to introduce.
Emily, you want to come on up? It's my pleasure to talk about Emily Knight for a little bit. A few weeks ago, I got a letter in the mail from the National Merit Scholarship Organization and opened the envelope, and we had a National Merit Scholar. I haven't opened very many of those envelopes. Let me tell you a little bit about Emily. She has already received 3 5s on AP tests, and she's got about 2 or 3 more tests to go. When I talked to her about, tell me what you're interested in, it would have been better for me to ask her what she's not interested in. She is interested in everything. She was the student director of Beauty and the Beast. She's been in choir and drama all 4 years. And this is something that really is inspiring, is that she took a class this year that she didn't really want to take because she thought she wasn't interested in, and it was AP Econ. She was so inspired by her teacher that is now going to be her focus in college. So I'm pleased to introduce Emily Knight. Her mom, Lisa's out in the audience. Please raise your hand.
And from Higley High, I'd like to have Brooke Lindsay and Annalisa Ortiz come up, please. You know, and being able to stand here and recognize Brooke, who's been accepted to Cornell, and Annalise, who's been accepted to the University of New Mexico, where she plans on studying medicine, for being selected National Merit finalists is truly an honor and really one of the perks of being an educator. You know, this is why we get into this type of profession. These 2 have really reached the top of the mountain, so to speak. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. And, you know, I just want to talk a minute about what it takes to become a National Merit finalist. You know, I'm one of those guys, you know, that I get up in the morning, I love to look at the baseball box score because I love to look at numbers and look at stats and stuff like that. Well, in the United States, in their cohort, 1.6 million high school students, juniors, took the PSAT test, okay? And they were in the top 1% of the 1.6 million students that took that test. And that's not all the juniors, that's just the juniors that tried. Okay, so you start thinking about that, and we're really getting into some, hey, they've really accomplished a lot here. And in the end, about 0.9% of that 1.6 million who tried become finalists. Okay, and we'll find out when in a couple of months, you know, where they finished in the whole thing. But, you know, you're talking about, you know, for a district to have 3 in one district is quite an accomplishment. You know, what they have to go through, what they have to do, volunteer, the service, you know, it's the whole package. And I did write down all the courses that they took, but really, you know, all 3 of them took pretty much about an average of 12 AP courses in their high school career. And, you know, you usually don't start doing that till you're a sophomore. So, you know, I'm in the presence of greatness. And it's an honor to be up here on the stage with you guys, and congratulations. And yeah, I guess we have parents and so forth. Why don't you tell us who you have here, Brooke?
With me here is my mom, Jill Lindsay. I have my mom, Michael, my dad, Suzanne, and then my little sister, Ileana.
Tonight we get to honor our support staff employees of the month. And first I'd like to bring up Mr. Sean Varner from Cooley Middle School to introduce his staff member.
Good evening, President Reese, members of the board, Dr. Thomason. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce the January support staff of the month, Miss Carrie Teets, health aide at Cooley Middle School. Come on up, Carrie. Lots of goodies for Carrie. So, if I could sum up Carrie in one word and what she does for us at Cooley and the Cooley community, amazing. She's truly an amazing person. This being my first year at Cooley, I just can't express enough about the positive attitude and the delicate support that she provides to our students at Cooley. She sees a lot of them. I know as she laughs up here, she sees a lot of them. But I want to read to you, I brought a paper up here. I want to read to you just a few statements and I stress just a few because we had a lot of them, of nominations when she was nominated in January. Carrie, well, I just said this one. Carrie is amazing. She has been at Cooley since day one and treats every student like her own. She sees on average of 65 students every day and always has a smile on her face, and I can attest to that. I have never, ever talked to her when she isn't smiling and has a good-natured attitude. We have numerous students with specific health needs, and Carrie goes above and beyond to be sure they are well taken care of. Cooley would be truly lost without Carrie. Carrie is one of the most amazing people I have had the opportunity to work with. She is so patient with the students, and when I have a concern with the students, she is always willing for them to come down so she can check them out. She responds to emergencies quickly and always has a level, cool head, and I can attest to that just this week. Always calm, always cool, always collective, no matter what the situation. Not only does she take care of our students with specific health needs, she is so patient with our frequent flyers and will take the time to help them out. And we know we have some frequent flyers. And then finally, just to sum it up, Carrie is so kind and supportive. It puts me at ease to know that she is on campus doing her very best every single day. So congratulations, Carrie. Well deserved. I didn't know if you, Michelle, if you wanted to bring everybody else up or. Okay.
To introduce our February support staff member of the month, Miss Patty Gleason.
Good evening, President Reese, members of the board, Dr. Thomason and cabinet. Again, I'm pleased to be here in front of you today to introduce and to honor our February support staff of the month, Mona Schuyler. Come on up, Mona. A member of the dream team here. Again, Mona helped us open the center back in 2013, and she was probably not sure of the ride that she was going to be on, but she has risen to every challenge and everything that has ever been thrown at her, and doing the work of three. Literally, she has been just an amazing part of our center. I know that our staff as well thought so I'd like to read some of their comments to you tonight. Okay, Mona is always willing to help myself or wherever she is needed at the preschool. She was always smiling and positive. Mona is just amazing in general. She has made it a point to know the names of every student that is attending the preschool so she can greet them by name daily. And I'm not kidding. Every day, every morning pickup, drop off, she calls them by name. And in fact, she's very, very kind in the fact that she'll say to me if she sees one coming in, that one's Joey, that one's Sally, so that I can say their names too. So it's pretty amazing. Mona is extremely helpful and always willing to help. Even if she has a full load, she will give of her time, no matter how big or small the task. Since I started at the end of the year last year, Mona was great with keeping me up to speed on things that pertain to me or answering any questions that I may have. She comes to work every day with a wonderful attitude that is infectious, and as you can see, how much the staff and families appreciate all that she does for them. Mona wears so many hats. She didn't bring them all tonight. And she does a fantastic job of whatever role she's filling. She does all her paperwork efficiently and on time, but more importantly, she does it all with a smile. She's willing to help anyone with anything they need, and she's a pleasure to call a coworker and a friend. And we get to work with this wonderful lady every day. And Stacy has a little story that she wants to share as well.
Okay, I was privileged to work with her today. Patty and I take turns with that privilege. And one thing that we have at preschool that a lot of the other schools, most of the other schools don't have, are customers. So Mona was very graciously going through item by item with a potential customer, telling them, directing them to a program that would probably better suit them, and in her very kind way. And she stopped and she said, "Wait a minute, are you usually up front?" And she said, "Must be me, because I'm pretty much the only one up front." And she said, "I heard about you." She said, "Someone that had told me that preschool was wonderful and the person up front will take great care of you." So not only is she well known and loved within our school, she's well known and loved in our community as well.
What did you bring today?
I brought my husband over there, my daughter Lauren, and two amazing staff this year. Both teachers, K-Prep teachers, Julie Ballard and Carrie Burnett. So that's so
Yep, and Becca.
And Becca.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a picture.
Now I'd like to bring forward the March support staff employee, Ms. Devonna Phillips. I am so excited I get to be the one to share the information with Devonna, who is a member of my team. So I just have a few statements to share from the nomination from her supervisor. Devonna came into the payroll department at the beginning of the year when everything is crazy busy with getting all of our returning and new employees put into the system. Since the beginning of this school year, Devonna has surpassed the responsibilities as a payroll clerk. She adapted well with the volume of work that payroll produces and is continuously learning more about the payroll process in the district. Devonna is continually helpful and considerate to all employees and non-employees, whether she is conversing on the phone, in person, or via email. Thank you, Devonna, for all your work. And then another comment from one of her coworkers. Devonna is such a nice and positive person. She is always ready to help you with that smile on her face. She works hard to get the job done no matter what. Thank you, Devonna, for all your work for payroll.
President Reese, members of the board, I would like to remind everybody of upcoming events. I would like to welcome everybody that's still left in the audience and those that are leaving to please come out this Saturday for our District Arts Festival at Higley High School. That'll be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have lots of great activities and opportunities for everybody to participate in. And then on Friday, April 14th, we have a spring holiday, so there'll be no school on that day. And then our next governing board meeting will be on Wednesday, April 19th, with the work starting at 5:30 and the board meeting at 6:30. And then Saturday, April 22nd, we have the district strategic plan and a work study at the district office from 8 a.m. to noon. Hope you all turn out for that. Thank you.
Thank you. We are at board comments now. I got to attend the WGAZ state championships for Winter Guard, and it was great to see our Winter Guards perform. They did really well. Sossaman Middle School took first place. One of their teams took first place in their division. Their other team took second place in their division. Cooley took first place in their division. Higley High School Drumline took first place in their division. Williamsfield Northside Winds took first place in their division. So Sossaman Drumline took first place in their division. So we had, that all took place on Saturday. It was a pretty busy day, but very proud of our schools. Not to mention, we had our trash can bands perform, and that's always fun. So, any other board comments?
May I, Madam President?
Mr. Glover.
Well, some of us took a tour of Santan Elementary. Just wanted to thank Ray Mercado for hosting us, and all the other district personnel that helped came along and toured with us. And I also wanted to thank Mr. John Dolan, who gave me a tour of Sossaman Middle School. So thank you, John.
I'll just reiterate too that I loved our tour of Santan, and it was great to see all the immersion program over there, along with many other things. I was thoroughly impressed, so thank you again.
All right. We are going to go on to 6.0, request to speak to the governing board. ARS 38-431.01.h. We value input from our constituents. This time has been set aside for anyone from the audience who wishes to address the board. Please remember, this is not an appropriate venue to evaluate, discuss, or criticize district personnel. Policy KEB provides a process for complaints about personnel. Speakers should be aware that false statements about individuals may result in civil liability. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. And please be sure that you speak into the microphone. I have 3 requests. I'm going to start with Mr. Gusick, our educational LORAC, wearing his orange.
Madam President, fellow board members, Superintendent Thomason, all Higley staff, parents, taxpayers, and last not least, students. My name is Joe Gusick, and as I always tell you, I'm your lovable, slightly annoying America says I'm your educational LORAC. I have a little saying that says, I'd rather tell you the truth and make you cry than to tell you a lie and make you smile. So I'm here to make you cry tonight, and I'm here to ask you to stand up for our education system. As you can see right in front of you is the state retirement plan, which your employees are part of. As you can see, from 88 to 2006, 5-6, they went below the 7% for the employee and the employer. They wasted 19 years. The fund is at 70% per se of funding. So as you, as a resident, an Arizona resident, and all of us are here, we're $16 billion on the hook. So we can wait, and we can be like everybody else and kick the can down the road. Or we can turn this into an opportunity and help ensure that this is there for a long, long time. So I want you to share with you the impact. If it was at 7%, your school district, just on your employer match of that 4.5%, equates to $2.333 million. Oh, that cut last year wouldn't have been so severe, would it now? The employees, as I went from district to district to district, I kept hearing them say, my take-home pay is less. It's less. Well, there's a reason why it was less, because that rate kept going up. So now, on their side, they're taking home less, and they're feeling that much more underappreciated. So what I would like to share with you is something from Pennsylvania, what it can come to be. They did the same little maneuver in the 90s. They had it at 15% down to 2001-2. They took it down to 2%. Now they have their employees capped. So the state, as a board, now has to pay 30%. And the projection in a couple years from now is 36% match. So you can see how easily we can destroy not just a retirement plan, we can destroy the trust of our employees. I've shared this with Governor Ducey and his staff in an email. I've shared it with our state elected officials. I tell you right now, it's time to act. Don't sit on the sideline. Ask them to work on this. It is better to do this and give away cuts or tax loopholes. Ensure this up and ensure that our employees have what they deserve coming to them. Because obviously you can see they're not paid that much. So if there's anybody here who's going to protect them, it should be all of us. Because sooner or later, the bill will show up and it's constitutionally protected. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I will invite up Jackson Washburn.
Thank you to all the leaders and officials of the Higley Unified School District. I do appreciate your time. Tonight I wanted to bring up a recent occurrence that took place at Williamsfield High School approximately on March 27th at 3:37 p.m. Faculty members of the English department at Williamsfield were notified that they were no longer permitted to utilize Khalid Hosseini's The Kite Runner as part of their honors English curriculum. I just wanted to bring up a few points about that, as they're no longer using it in their curriculum and no longer permitted to advise it as an independent reading novel either. This is a book that's been through a vetting process in the past. It's been utilized as part of the district curriculum for around 4 years now. Personally, when I was a sophomore, I read it in my class. I wanted to note that without going through the due process of removing it from the list, it can't necessarily be taken off the curriculum just yet. I've been able to speak as a student journalist with several faculty members who feel that their concerns haven't been addressed or responded to by members of the district. They have spent long hours of unpaid time over spring break creating lesson plans, creating materials, curriculum, etc. For the upcoming reading of The Kite Runner by their honor students. And unfortunately, on that day after contract hours, they were effectively left to scramble to replace this book with, ironically enough, the Of Mice and Men, which has been challenged more by school boards in the past than The Kite Runner. In the past, parents have always had the opportunity to opt their children out of this reading if they so chose, given alternate titles. And so many community members, students, and parents, faculty members feel that this is somewhat unnecessary given that individuals in the past were always given the option to opt out. I can attest to the contemporary classic that the Kite Runner is. It speaks to several themes which are completely pertinent to the times in which we live, and it definitely speaks to the youth. I can attest to that myself, having read that. Essentially, I just want to leave with this, that by not following necessary protocol for removing the book from curriculum, as per the American Library Association, this counts as censorship, you could say. And so I would like to see perhaps a little bit more transparency as to why this took place. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming and speaking. We appreciate that. I will ask Dr. Thomason to make sure if teachers and staff have their concerns that aren't being answered, if we can make sure that is happening. And it takes a lot to come and speak, and I really appreciate it. It's not easy, especially on subjects like this, where we hear multiple sides, and so I appreciate your passion and coming to speak about it. So thank you. All right, and the last call to public I have is Mr. Forsythe.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and other leaders here today for allowing me to speak. I'm the father of a 16-year-old special education student. He's a freshman at Williamsfield High School. We moved here to Arizona in Gilbert in November of 2015, so we've been here for about a year and a half. And without going into all the grievances, we've dealt with a lot of turnover with staff, with principals, with aides, with teachers, on and on and on. And it's to the point where it culminated in a very disheartening experience a couple weeks ago when my son's one-on-one aide was, at the same time as his teacher, dismissed for the week of school, and there was no communication with us as parents. That was disheartening for the fact that our students, my particular student is nonverbal. He can't communicate. If we don't know what's going on, we can't communicate with him. It's as if they're treated as somebody that's lesser than the general student body, because they don't have the collective knowledge of everybody else to know when things are going on and whatnot. And so we're left to wonder. And it's a very scary, it's a very disheartening experience for all of us to know what has happened in this school, particular to someone where my son has become dependent upon them as a one-on-one aide, as well as their teacher. So I kindly ask the board that you consider, without doing anything negatively to harm any individual or circumvent any HR rules, I kindly ask that you reconsider the communication between parents and staff when matters like this come up, so that we can properly address it with our children who cannot communicate their feelings themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Dr. Schillingberg, can we make a note to follow up as well? Another request to speak, Mr. Forwalk.
Hi, my name is Kevin Forwalk, and I have a student in Higley High School who is a sophomore and is on track to graduate with enough credits to meet the requirements that the board has put together. But at the same time, he was also interested in taking electives at the Vocational Technical School of EVIT. We started this process back in January, and we found it an extremely difficult process to get him into that program due to the fact that the board requiring the student to be on the Higley campus for 4 hours. This became a large issue he also is an athlete and wanted to participate in sports after school. The suggested schedule that came out from the school was a schedule that would start at 6:30 in the morning, and usually his sports ended around 8 p.m. and then with 2 hours of homework afterwards would give them an extremely long day of 16 hours. And it just didn't seem like that was according to like the mission statement of Higley Unified School District of trying to enrich and participate in activities and as well enrich themselves in education. We ran into a lot of problems, and it seemed like a lot of it was just basically directed to that it was the district's fault, and that was one of our problems where we couldn't get this resolved. Fortunately enough, this has been resolved to our satisfaction on Monday, but just since it's been fresh, and I also spoke with Nancy Diab earlier today, that I thought I'd bring it to the board's attention and also the superintendent's attention, that the EVIT program is a great program for people who have enough credits and can go and take their elective classes and further their education in other than creative writing or digital photography or maybe a career goal, that path that they're going to go down. So I'm not here to grind any axes. I'm actually here just to try and make it a smoother path for students who wish to take this path in the future, and that future students don't run into the same problem that we have run into. Like I said, this started in January, and we didn't get it resolved almost until, well, like I said, last Monday. So that's all I have to say, and I hope that, I don't know if that clarifies anything. I know that you've been involved, Mr. Thomason, and I do appreciate your help, but we did hit a lot of roadblocks. And I'm not really sure what finally broke the wall down, but I do appreciate now that we're on the right path. So that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And I understand that 0 hour. I have one who also starts at 6:30 and has practice till 9 p.m. I get it's a long day for them, so totally understand that. So I appreciate you letting us know of the situation, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, and we will look at the process and review.
The whole problem, again, like I mentioned earlier, was that it was the 4-hour requirement to be on a Higley Unified Camp or Higley School campus instead of being down the road at EVIT, where that also counts as schooling, but they're not actually on this campus.
Right.
So that was our big problem. All right?
Thank you. And that concludes our request to speak to Governing Board. So we are going to go on to 7.0 consent agenda. Sorry, I've got to pull mine back up. Are you on there? I apologize, trying to catch up. All right. So I move that we approve the consent agenda with the removal of personnel action item 26 and personnel action item number 27 for those to be pulled off and handled separately.
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns about the consent agenda? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That motion carries 4-0. At this time, before we handle the items that were removed from the consent agenda, I move that the board goes into executive session for legal advice regarding those two items.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 The board will now recess for executive session. We will now follow up on item 26 that was removed from consent agenda. Is Mr. Wolf here? Okay. So regarding item 26, personnel item 26, I move that we accept the recommendation of the administration.
I'll second.
Any comments or concerns? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Personnel item number 27. Is Mr. Garcia here? Give me just a moment, Mr. Garcia, please. Thank you. Regarding item 27, is there a motion to allow Mr. Garcia to address the board? If there is no motion, I do apologize, Mr. Garcia. The board is not allowing comment. Regarding item number 20, personnel item number 27, I move that we accept the administration's recommendation. Is there a second?
I second.
Any other comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. That will conclude our consent agenda for the items that were pulled off separately. And we will now move on to 9.1. Item 9.1, I move we approve the revisions to the 2017-18 high school course guide.
I second.
Any questions, comments on this one? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. 9.2, for the approval of publication request of proposal for an internal audit services. I move that we approve the RFP for internal audit services.
Support.
Any questions for Mr. Holland on this one? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. We are now at our future agenda items. Dr. Thomason, we did review our future agenda items, and I believe we talked about the high school guidance counseling program and the non-administrative personnel pay for performance plan being presented at April 19th, that they would be done collectively.
Madam President, members of the board, yes, that will be for the next board meeting on April 19th.
So we did get, those do now have a date. As far as the 2018-19 calendar committee survey, everyone should have received an email regarding, I think it was actually in the superintendent's report about the calendar committee, so we got an update on that. Okay. Any other future agenda items?
Madam President?
Mr. Glover.
Well, I know that in talking to Dr. Thomason, there are some procedures and processes for books and supplementals and things like that that we were talking about. So we might want to add that, an update, as I think they work through the processes, and just get a report so the community can know that it's being looked into and handled, and processes and procedures are developed so that we can avoid misunderstandings, if you want to call them that, in the future.
And I think, no, I agree, and Dr. Thomason and I have talked a lot about processes, but specifically regarding books and things like that, I think also it will come with our new curriculum information as well, so.
President Reese, members of the board, we did talk about that in cabinet this week, and a process is being put in place that we will bring to the board during our work study in the near future.
Perfect.
President Reese.
Mrs. Kaler?
I'd also just, in knowing that our board is constantly working on our communication piece, and I thank you to our parent that spoke tonight on that very subject, and know that as a board we are working on several things in that area, and I'm not sure if it's a future agenda item, but specifically, but it's an ongoing topic for us, and so I just want to make sure that that is noted and brought before.
And communication is going to be, that is a big piece of our strategic plan. I know that we've talked to the company who's helping us with our strategic plan, and we will be having our Saturday session with them coming up here. So I know communication is a big piece of that, and not just in our strategic plan, but going forward. And communication is something really important, and so it is an ongoing item, and I'm looking forward to having good discussion in our strategic plan regarding communication. So, any other future agenda items? All right, well, hopefully we'll see everyone at the District Arts Festival on Saturday. It's gonna be great. Our teachers, I wanna thank our teachers and staff and community members. To put this together takes a lot of time and effort and commitment, and it was fabulous last year. I'm looking forward to it. And so up front, I want to thank them for the time and effort that they've already put into it. So I hope to see everyone there. All right, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.